Ah, okay. You cannot hear me because I hi from in Switzerland. Oh, many years ago already I played in Switzerland. Sound is okay now. Good. So in Switzerland, okay, probably in Bill tournament in 2009, I think it was my last experience in Switzerland. Okay, so for today, I want to explain what happened in last two games in the match between Yefim Bogoljubow and Max Euwe. In previous videos, I showed first 8 games with commentaries, Ola, chest. So after 8 games, the score was 4.5 against 3.5 in favor of Yefim Bogoljubow, who won 2 games in a row. I mean, game 7 and game 8. So now Max Euwe need, if he want to save the match, so he need to win at least one game. But he didn't manage this goal, so both this game ended with draw, and Yefim Bogoljubow won the match. So, and we will try to consider what happened. So in game 9, I am fine, thank you. I hope you are fine as well. Which country are you from, by the way? Здравствуйте. Okay, so from Serbia, okay. So d4 knight f6, c4 e6, knight c3 played Yefim Bogoljubow. It's interesting that against Nimzo India, Yefim Bogoljubow liked to play queen b3 line, which is quite rare now, but okay, it was different situation of theory, but Yefim Bogoljubow played this line, for example, after c5, d takes c5, knight c6, knight f3, knight e4, bishop d2. There are several games which was played by Yefim Bogoljubow with white. At the moment, queen b3 line, it's not popular at all. Well, but Max Euwe played d5, classical queen's gambit declined, bishop g5, sorry, g4, it's Mamedyarov style, but Bogoljubow didn't play this. Mamedyarov played g4 against Yesipenko, but not in this position, I think. So, in which moment he played g4? So probably it was in this position after knight f3, bishop e7, here g4 probably, but I'm not sure. But so I recommend to see game Mamedyarov against Yesipenko in Vacancy this year. Interesting game, which was ended with draw. But okay, so Bogoljubow played bishop g5. I'm fine, thank you. And you? So bishop g5, knight bd7, e3, c6, knight f3. So Bogoljubow wants to play Cambridge Spring variation, which he was also expert with black, but now we will see him with white. As I already explained it here, white has option to have good version of Carlsbad variation. I mean, c takes d5, e takes d5, bishop d3. Idea that white knight is not still not developed on f3, so white are flexible. They can play knight f3 or they can play knight g2. Depends. Depends of taste, depends of mood. But okay, so knight f3, queen a5. You can see Cambridge Spring variation. Yes, yes. G4 Yes, here, exactly. Yes. Mamediaro played g4 here. Okay. But knight c3, d5, bishop g5, bishop. Okay, as I explained it already, white has two main options in this position. So knight d2 is one option, and another very popular option is c takes d5. And after knight takes d5, after e takes d5, white can play bishop d3 simply. After knight e4 castle, knight g5, knight takes g5, and this position, objectively speaking, is more pleasant for white because of better development. So after knight takes d5, white has choice. Queen d2 was the most popular from the match between Garry Kasparov and Vasily Smyslov, but nowadays even more popular is rook c1. Many games was played. Idea of rook c1 that if black just taking the pawn after bishop d3, white has very good compensation. Castle is coming, and strong center and better development gives white excellent compensation. So usually black is playing bishop a3 here, rook c2, b6, sorry, b6. D4, knight f6, g4. Okay, maybe even this is possible. Plichta gambit. Okay, Plichta. Camille Plichta. I will know. No. Okay, so here many games was played already, but knight d2 played Yefim Bogoljubow, bishop b4, queen c2. This is theory. Now the most popular line is castle, and after bishop e2, black has choice. So c5 is possible, e5 is possible as well. But d takes c4 played Max Euwe. Bogoljubow himself also played d takes c4 in one game against Alexander Alyokhin in his World Championship match. So bishop takes f6 was played, but Alyokhin took with knight here, which is recommended by theory like main option. And Bogoljubow took on c3, and now Alyokhin took with queen, and after queen takes c3, b takes c3, king d7, this endgame looks like equal. So according to theory, more promising for white to take with pawn, with idea if queen c7 to play e4, and here it's more pleasant for white because e5 is threat, if b5, even e5 is possible, and this bishop takes c4, and looks like white is better somehow. So queen takes c3, objectively dubious move. Probably Alyokhin just had advantage with score, and he didn't want to take some risks. Because of this he took with queen, but objectively b takes c3, it's stronger. So in general, black is playing queen c7, a3, bishop e7, so it's a little bit passive, but quite solid position. Okay, but if you have a problem with Cambridge, you can play knight d2, queen takes e6. Okay, it's even not my move because idea was I mean queen takes e6 idea against Karyakin. This was a recommendation of Mexican player Jose Gonzalez. So probably it's better to tell that it is his best move in his career. I just realized his idea. Okay, so queen c7, a3, bishop e7, many games was played, but suddenly Bogoljubow took with bishop. It's very unusual decision. And, Doesn't look very logical, but okay. And Max Euwe immediately played e5. So very concrete reaction. Of course, black has no. About queen sacrifice. I will try to remember. It was this line: knight f3, d6, d4, takes, knight f6, knight c3, a6, bishop c4, e6, bishop b3, b5, bishop g5, bishop e7, queen f3, queen c7, e5, bishop b7, this, 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 and now queen takes e6, f takes e6, knight takes e6. So this was my game against Karyakin. Queen takes e6. It's idea of Jose Gonzalez. Why better than bishop takes e6? I don't know, but after bishop takes e6, probably just knight takes d4 is possible, and white losing material, maybe, simply. Okay, but Mexican players, Manuel Leon Hoyos was my second in many important tournaments. So, and Jose Gonzalez was his friend. So, of course, Leon Hoyos told me about this idea, but he wasn't inventor. Also, Mexican players. Cisniega is Mexican player, but he's older than me. Okay, Carlos Torre, of course, but Carlos Torre played in 1925 in Moscow, for example. Okay, so it's concrete threats. Rook goes to e1, and okay, but this is very complicated. And after my game, many games was played, and according to modern theories, there is something like forcing draw, but at the moment I don't remember, unfortunately, concrete variation. Okay, well, now we will come back to Bogoljubow. His strange decision, bishop takes c4 instead of natural knight takes c4, and Euwe played immediately e5. It's what can I say about this move? Certainly, black has some choice. Okay, very logical looks just play castle, and only after castle to play e5 now. It looks like very logical. If knight b3, queen c7. Black has two bishops and quite solid position. So after castle, what else? A3 is possible, but after a3, black can do many things. Even e5 here is possible. But okay, after e5, white can probably play knight b3 and simplify the position. This endgame looks like equal after rook e8. So maybe after a3 if black wants to play more complicated. No, f4, I don't think so, because after f4 black has contraplay with c5, e3 pawn will be weak. So f4 is dubious idea. Okay, but here bishop e7 is possible simply. And black is prepared for e5 or c5. If f4, c5 is good, but if other move like castle, e5 is coming. Okay, but this is normal position. White can play knight f3, for example, e takes d4, e takes d4, rook f e1 is coming, bishop f5, queen b3. Okay, maybe it's not so simple. If queen b3, b5 is possible, bishop e2, bishop e6, queen c2, something like this. Well, but castle was a very logical move, but Euwe played e5. So d takes e5. Of course, white can play just castle. After castle, probably black can castle as well. Also possible, probably take firstly, and after e takes d4, castle now. D takes e5, queen takes e5. So it looks like black is playing with fire a little bit, because bishop b4 hanging and f7 square is hanging, but white cannot to take on f7, because after king takes f7, queen b3 check, knight d5, bishop is protected. So Bogoljubow played queen b3 and Euwe took on c3. Only move, because bishop was attacked and pawn f7 is attacked, and now pawn f7 is it's not protected, so it looks like white can take on f7, but it's of course not so simple. So Bogoljubow took with queen on c3. So here there is endgame in the board, slightly worse for white, because pawn structure is a little bit better for white. Okay, but what was idea of the bishop f7 here? I think king e7 looks like very natural, but after king e7, b takes c3, and I don't see how black can win white bishop. Bishop c4 is positional threat, of course, to save his bishop after rook f8, bishop c4, knight g4, knight f3. White has pawn up and no reason to worry, but probably I think that Euwe prepared another idea. After e takes, no, castle already. So knight b3 is possible, and d takes c3 not possible because already castle. But after knight b3, black can just play queen c7 and then castle. Yes, in different position. Okay, maybe if king on e1, black has this idea after knight b3, e takes d4. Yes, maybe. Okay, but here after bishop takes f7, I think that idea of Euwe was to play b5, but probably not here, because knight f3 is coming and then knight d4. So maybe king f8 is stronger. And after b takes c3, b5 now. And now white has quite a big trouble with his bishops. Now knight f3 doesn't help, because queen e7. And if knight g5, black can just play h6, and white losing a piece without serious compensation. If rook d1 here, now probably if black takes rook d8, knight e8, it can be compensation because unpleasant pin, but black can simply play bishop g4, and now I cannot give good advice for white. Again, if knight g5, black has simply h6 and white is losing material. So this was a trap of Max Euwe. So bishop takes f7 looks like mistake, and after king f8 and and b5, white cannot save his bishop at least. Knight e6 after queen e7. Well, so how knight e6? Just a moment. King f8, b takes c3, b5, knight f3, uh, queen e7, knight still on g5, knight still on f3. If knight g5, h6. If knight e6, I will just take, and white has nothing, because if knight c7 check, bishop e6 is coming. So white can play only knight d8 check and take on c6, but it's not enough for a piece, only 2 pawns. Okay, about Karpov and Kasparov, I can tell many different stories, but okay, for today I have another topic, and I want to concentrate today on my games, on the games Euwe against Bogoljubow. So in another video, probably I will explain my ideas about Karpov and Kasparov. So this was a nice trap, which prepared by Max Euwe, but Bogoljubow avoided it, and he agreed to slightly worse endgame. Of course, it's not a big achievement for white from the opening to have slightly worse endgame, but okay, so only 2 games left in match, so draw is acceptable for Bogoljubow, and he's trying to do it. King e2 he played. Now bishop e6. It's okay. It's normal move, but in situation when you need to win, more logical looks to play rook d8 and to have more pieces in the board. Bishop on c4 without queens is not dangerous because pawn f7 is protected. So probably for black more reason to play rook d8, and then probably bishop f5 or knight e8, knight d6 is also possible plan. So I think with bishop, black has more ideas to create a problem for his opponent. For example, if bishop b3, also b6 and bishop a6, there is idea. So actually, I think bishop e6, it's not a good move, and this is positions already from endgame we can consider, and as I have my impression also from matches from match Euwe against Alechin, so endgame technique wasn't the best part of his style. So bishop e6, in my opinion, is dubious, especially in this situation. So black can try to play for win in this position because objectively black is slightly better. But after bishop e6, these chances are very small already, because after this exchange for white is much easier to defend. Now many possibilities, even a4 is possible now for white. But okay, knight b3 played Bogoljubow with threat knight c5. If b6, knight d4 is a little bit unpleasant, so knight e4. played Euwe, rook c1, rook c8, f3, knight d6, knight c5. I don't know if white needs to play knight c5 immediately. Totally logical looks to play c4 and or even rook d1 immediately, and to be more flexible. So knight can go on c5 later. If black play c5, white has idea c4 and then rook d5 probably. Okay, but Bogoljubow played knight c5, king e7, g4. G4, it's strange move for me. Okay. If imagine I am white, I would play something like rook hd1 or something like this, but okay. G4 was choice of Bogoljubow. b6. Again, I would prefer f6 with idea to prepare h5, and if rook g1, for example, black can play rook d8. So b6 is black can always play whenever they want. So in my opinion, no reason to hurry with this move. Okay, but he played knight d3, rook hd8, rook hd1, f6 now. h4, a5 he played. Okay, so if you imagine this position with bishops, black has more chances. For example, if you imagine that bishop on b3, white, bishop on b7, black. Black can try bishop a6 with idea to exchange bishop against knight and transfer his knight to c5, something like this. Now, not so many chances because white has only one weakness, and very difficult for black to have real chances to win, for win. a5, knight b2, strange move, knight b2. So much more natural looks c4 here, with idea c5 and okay, and black. Okay, black cannot stop with c5 because knight f4, knight d5 is coming. So if knight moves somewhere, white has good contraplay with rook b1. So very strange style of Euwe when he playing endgame, especially in this game. But knight b2 also, it's a strange move. So c4 looks like much more natural and much better. Okay, knight b2 played Bogoljubow. I don't know what was idea. Probably he was planning to play knight a4 in some moment or what. So anyway, strange. Maybe now, if knight on b2, black can consider maybe even this possibility. If takes, rook h8. Try to utilize that white knight is so far from king's land. If rook g1, okay, for example, knight e8, okay, knight e8, knight c4, so okay, maybe this is wrong, because if king f7, rook d1 is okay, maybe h5 is too much, but okay, so I don't understand what white wants. Okay, maybe knight b7 is interesting move, by the way. My idea to play knight c5 in some moment. It's possible. But okay, Euwe played b5, knight came back to d3, knight c4, e4. c5, c5, another strange move. Much more natural looks something like rook d7 and rook d8. Just exchange rooks and try to create chances in knight endgame. c5, it's strange because now d5 square is weak and white has contraplay. Knight f4, knight b6, g5. So white Now have serious contraplay in king's flank. Somewhere b5 pawn can be hanging, so black lost his advantage. Position is more or less equal. Rook g1, rook f8, knight g2. Bogoljubow wants to transfer knight to e3 probably. F5, h5. Strange player? No, okay, he wasn't strange player. He was very strong player, especially, opening preparation in that time. He was very strong. Like tactical player, he was very strong. But end game technique, okay, it's not so strong, in my opinion, like Capablanca, Lasker, and Alechin. Okay, it not means that he was weak in endgame, but not such a strong. Okay, it's just my even not opinion. It's just my feeling. Probably I am not totally right, but I have such a feeling. Bogoljubow also endgame wasn't the best part of his style. Certainly, also he was tactical player and very good theoretically prepared player as well. Of course, for that moment of theory. But okay, now endgame is very sharp. So black has advantage in queen's flank, but white has some ideas against pawn on g6, so takes on g6 and knight h4. Probably I want to attack g6 pawn, so king d6. Not so natural move, frankly speaking, because more natural to have mm, of course, if I will analyze game of Rubinstein, yes, I think it's possible. Okay, I will write for myself. Rubinstein, yes. Rubinstein, okay. I can prepare some games of Akiba Rubinstein. Okay, so king d6, it's not natural. Much more natural, in my opinion, to play something like rook c6, to prepare rook e6 and also to have pawn g6 good defended. Yes. Rook h8. It was a very nice example in Nimzo Indian. Yes. So in such a double-edged position, Euwe was really strong, but in dry technical position, he wasn't so strong, in my opinion. So rook c6 was, in my opinion, the best idea. Two reasons. So rook e6 attacks the pawn and also to defend well his weakness g6. So king d6, this, rook d1, king e5. Okay, now king is active, but there are still many pieces on the board, so sometimes can be unpleasant checks for this king. So this strategy looks a little bit strange for me, but I'm not sure if I'm right. Knight h4, rook c6 only now, rook d3. Rook d3. Okay, if rook g4, probably rook f4 is problem for white. So it doesn't look what. Okay, about tournaments, knight f3, king takes e4 is possible, and white has no mating ideas. At least I don't see. Okay, so rook d3 played Bogoljubow. Now knight c4 play. Just a moment. So knight d2, but now king f5 simply, and white has no compensation for the pawn. So rook d3, knight c4, rook d7 played Bogoljubow. Again, if rook g4, always rook f4 is idea for black. So Euwe playing this endgame tactically. But rook d7, king takes e4, rook e7. Black won the pawn, but white has maybe, but I'm not sure. Frankly speaking, rook c6 I would prefer here. So king d6, I think it's too risky. So I'm not sure that this is a good idea. For example, also white can play immediately knight h4. And I'm not sure that this is good for black. So rook e4 is possible, knight takes g6, rook e4, but white has strong g pawn. Okay, maybe rook e8 and then some checks, but also after rook f4, white has check firstly. And g pawn can be quite dangerous. For example, if this knight f4, something like this, and g6, and this can be even dangerous for black. So king d6, it looks like dubious for me, but probably I'm not totally right, because these variations are very concrete and important to analyze them move to move. But okay, so in the game, okay, he more or less he won the pawn, but white has contraplay, because king in danger and there are some pins, and g6 is weakness. So uh, I have no feeling that white is really worse. So after knight e5, rook g3 played Bogoljubow. Rook e1 looks like tempting, but after rook e1, probably black can play calmly rook d6, and black king has no moves at the moment. But okay, if white wants draw, so it's possible to take and to play king d2, and black obviously cannot win in this position. So rook e1 was quite good option for white, and it's obvious that white is not in danger to lose, because always they can take pawn back. But Bogoljubow played rook g3, probably he played for win. Or just move 40, it's also possible. So probably he was in time trouble, because rook e1 objectively it's stronger. So white has simple threat king d2 or king d1. So king d5 not possible, because rook d1 check. No, not possible. I mean, if black wants to win, okay, black can play king d5 and king e4, but it means that they are not playing for win. But so only try to play for win in this position is rook d6 to restrict white king, but after knight g6 and king d2 is, looks like totally drawish. So rook e1 was strong move, but probably because it was move 40, Yefim Bogoljubow missed this opportunity. He played rook g3, dubious move. Now king f4, and he came back. He came back. Uh-huh. So it was move repetition. So he could repeat move again and to play rook e1. But he again played rook g3, rook g1, and suddenly he played rook h1. Very original. And frankly speaking, so it looks like he's playing for win. in this position because I cannot believe that Bogoljubow didn't see idea Rook E1 and to make draw. Probably he decides that black are in dangers and white has chances to win in this position. Rook G2 is Rook G2. I don't understand what is idea of Rook G2 now. But okay, he played Rook H1 suddenly, and Euwe played King D5. I don't know why. What is white's threat? So Rook H3 probably he wants to play, but is it so dangerous threat? Difficult to believe. For example, black can play Rook D6, logical move, and if Rook H3, even King D5 is already possible. So strange moment. King D5 played Euwe. Aha, and they repeat moves. And he played Rook D3. Aha, he played Rook D3. Aha, and now Rook F3 is threat. No, but aha, if King F4, he prepared to play Knight G2. And suddenly black is losing piece. Because if Rook E6, Knight E3. Aha, so he is, yes, I was right. He's playing for win, Rook D3. He doesn't want draw, but and he won a piece even. But okay, black has serious contraplay because pawn are quite dangerous. After Rook H1, Rook H8 is proposition. No, it's bad because this and black is losing. Yes, maybe he played for win. It looks like he played for win, but after Rook H1, I don't understand why not Rook D6. So what is the problem for black here? Maybe Knight G. Maybe Knight G2 is idea Rook H4. Yes, maybe. So we can see that black has extra pawn, but white has many threats, and it looks like not white, but it is black who is in danger. Yes, knight G2 is strong move, and threats are very unpleasant. So king D5. Knight G2, king D5. But king D5, knight E3, king E4. Okay, maybe black is not losing, but but sorry, king D5, rook D1, winning simply. King C6 only move, and rook takes E5, and black is just piece down. So king D5 played Euwe. He gave a piece, but strong contraplay. White cannot take on G6 very quickly, and black wants to push their pawns. So knight F3, A4, rook E3. Again, rook E3 is dropped, but Bogoljubow played knight E1, rook D6, and only now he forced a draw. Two pawns against piece, yes, but but pawns are well advanced, so it looks like white cannot win in this position. So Bogoljubow made draw by move repetition, and now we will see last game. So Max Euwe has white, Bogoljubow has black, and Max Euwe needs to win. Yes, but we can see that conception go with king and take e4 pawn was principally wrong. I mean, rook c6 was much better than king d6 in my opinion, because here after rook c6, black has quite pleasant position without any risk. So rook e6 is coming, or in some variation b4 is possible, or knight a4. So it's very dubious conception. Was probably Euwe wanted to win too much, but in fact he took too big risk, and in final stage of this game he was in real danger, not his opponent. And last game Euwe needs to win, and he has white. So Euwe played e4, e5, and bishop b5. Knight d4 played Efim Bogoljubow. Black has many moves here, so knight d4 is one of these moves. Alternatives are different moves with bishop. So bishop b4 is possible, bishop c5 is possible, bishop d6 is possible as well. a6 it's a little bit risky according to theory, because white can take and take here, and after this queen d4, there castle, queen takes e5, rook e1. d4 is another option. Rook e1 is more simple. Idea, if bishop e6, white can play d3, not d4, because after d4, queen f5. Okay, d4 is also possible, but with another idea. I mean, if to play knight g5 now, after castle takes, black has contraplay against d4 pawn. So if c3, c5 is coming. So if white playing d4, now bishop g5 is correct move, with idea to prevent long castle, and after h6, queen d3. This is important motive. And black cannot take the bishop because knight d6 is check. So if king d7, bishop h4, white has initiative. But more simple to play d3, and now after castle, knight g5, and this is unpleasant position for black because of pawn structures. Queen e2, and white is better here. Okay, so Bogoljubow played knight d4, and now somebody mentioned Akiba Rubinstein. So Bogoljubow with white against Akiba Rubinstein played knight takes e5 here. Rubinstein responded queen e7, f4 played Bogoljubow, knight takes b5, knight takes b5, d6, knight f3, queen takes e4, this, knight g4, this, queen g6, queen h5, knight takes c7, king d8. Now if takes the rook after g5, black has very, very strong attack. So Bogoljubow played h3, knight f6, knight takes a8, knight e4 played Rubinstein, king h2, queen takes h4, queen f3. And this is position is good for white, and Bogoljubow win with white against Rubinstein. But then German player Wagner, or something like this, I mean family name. He was Wagner, or he realized that instead of no, it wasn't Spielmann. No, it wasn't such a famous player. Uh, but he was author of this analysis, and he found that instead of knight e4, bad move of Rubinstein, much stronger was queen takes h4 and knight e4. This is idea. It's important to know. And black has very unpleasant mating threats. Yes, I will commentate Pretendent tournament, but I'm not planning to make streams in Russian language in nearest time. So after knight a4, knight e4, queen h5 only move. Bishop e7, queen g5, bishop takes g5, f takes g5, h6, g6 only move, takes. And now black has threat, for example, if d3 losing immediately because g5 and bishop f5 and mate. So after h6, yes, g6 is only move, and now rook f1 is only move to prevent this threat bishop f5. But after g5, king h5, knight g3, king g6, knight takes f1, king takes g7, rook e8. Black is better in this endgame because white has no development and position of knight on a8 is terrible. So this is theory which is important to know. But modern, according to modern theory, the best for white here is to play bishop c4 or bishop a4. There are a lot of theory, many variations. For example, one of variation is bishop c5, knight takes e5, castle, knight d3, bishop b6, e5, c6. Interesting idea. And if castle knight e8, black has good compensation because d6 and or d5 is coming. If e takes f6, rook e8 check, and also black has very good compensation here because white piece is situated bad. Okay, so okay, castle, according to modern theory, it looks like harmless. Also, even in strong level, there are some games. So this c6, queen c7, but now according to my memory, modern players playing something like this: a4, bishop e7, h3, castle, bishop e3, something like this, and then queen d3, knight d2, f4, something like this. Nothing special, but it's playable position. But Euwe played knight e1, so it looks like he's preparing f4, but surely it's simply play e7. F4 is possible, but there's no special achievement fight after f4. If black wants, at least they can exchange queens. It's not necessary because many other possibilities. It's one possibility. So I played king h1 probably with idea to avoid queen b6. Bogoljubow played b5. How often I am streaming? Okay, usually each 3 days, more or less. Okay, I have no regular schedule, but when will be candidated tournament, I will try to annotate all of routes. So I think I will do it more often than usually. Yes, something like this. So king h1, it looks like Euwe preparing f4, and he wants to avoid idea e takes d4 and queen b6, but its idea knight e1 looks like artificial. Knight e1, king h1, black has two bishops, and f4 is it's not nightmare for black at all. So Bogoljubow starts his contraplay b5, very logical. He wants to play b4 and take on e4. Thanks for subscription. So a3, bishop b7, natural and logical. f4, takes c5. White cannot take on b5 here, of course, because after queen c6 they will lost e4 pawn and black will be just better. So queen d3 played Max Euwe, a6, black has two bishops advantage and excellent position. White has problem with the development, so white plan is black plans are simple: castle, rook fe8, bishop f8 to make pressure against e4 pawn. Oh, knight f3, rook d8 played Bogoljubow. It's strange somehow for me. More natural looks castle. Okay, only explanation of rook d8, it's he could afraid e5, but it's very hard to believe that this is really dangerous for black. Okay, black must be careful, of course. For example, if rook a d8, white will take and take on e7, and now yes, now white is better because they will have. I am not playing here, I'm just annotate and I'm explaining some things about chess theory. Okay, so rook a d8 is bad, but black has other moves. For example, c4 looks like totally playable. And I don't see any special problem for black. For example, if queen f5, knight d5 is coming. Also possible, of course, to play c4 immediately, even not open f line for white. And so I don't think that with Wolf's development, white can create attack against black two bishop advantage has and very well coordinated pieces. Only if black will make some tactical mistakes, but for example, now even this idea is possible. And if this knight d5, black has queen d7, white cannot have three pieces against queen, only two pieces, which is not enough. If after bishop c8, queen g5, okay, this is not so clear, but knight e4, so knight d5 looks like, okay, maybe this is also possible. This is not so clear. Okay, maybe this also, it looks like black has time to take c7 pawn with decent position. So castle was totally possible, but rook d8 played Bogoljubow. It looks like he considered e5 like threats, or just was lazy to calculate variation after e5. So he played prophylactic move rook d8, which looks for me a little bit passive, but okay, it's solid move, and because now white has no idea with e5, which wasn't dangerous, as I already explained it, but okay, now white need to do something else, and not so clear what. Okay, maybe knight h4 is possible, but if knight h4, Even this, it's not so clear. I don't know, maybe 95, maybe white has initiative here. It's at least it's not obvious. Okay, but after knight h4, black can also consider other moves. Even simple castle is possible after knight f5, rook fe8 to prepare bishop f8 and try to create. Uh-huh. Okay, about candidated tournament we can speak, but firstly I want to finish this game, especially this is quite a short game, so we can come back to this. Now I need to put more light in my room because it's evening. No problem. Bishop d2, castle. So black has solid position with two bishops, and somewhere they are prepared to play d5 and e5, knight e4, for example. Even here, d5 was totally possible. e5, knight e4, and black has quite good position. No, knight on f5 here, it's not so strong because other pieces are not so active and the white cannot organize serious attack. Black is prepared for bishop f8. In some variation, even bishop c8 is possible to attack this knight. So important that also pawn f7 is well defended. Okay, maybe only tactical possibilities. So e5, I mean, so something like this, if it works. But I'm not sure if this it works. But okay, now it's necessary to calculate variation at least. For example, knight h5 is possible. If knight h6, king h8, if queen g4, g6. Okay, but maybe queen g4, g6, bishop g5, maybe white has some attack. Okay, so e5 is idea somehow, but black has also knight e4 with idea not yes, knight e4 with idea not open f line. So knight takes e4 more or less forced, bishop takes e4, and after e takes d6, black can just play queen d7, and it's clear that only black can play for win here. White has no serious attack. Why knight e4? No, here knight e4 is good move. Idea to exchange knights and to have good perspectives in centrum. So white has no resources for attack because rook a1 and the bishop c1 still not developed. So bishop d2. Already now Bogoljubow could play d5 as I explained it and have excellent position after e5, knight e4, but he decides that no reason to hurry and he played rook f8. It's practical choice. Knight g5 played Max Euwe. It's strange somehow, but I don't know what was better because anyway black are ready to play d5, so knight d5, black can just take and bishop f6. So knight g5 is strange move, but okay, knight d5 is possible, but okay, knight d5 black can take and bishop f6 is possible. Okay, bishop, maybe even c4 is possible. So it's for sure black has no problem at all in this position. Only white can be in danger somehow because d5 pawn can be weak. But knight g5 is hardly better. So h6, knight h3. Only reason that now after d5, e5, now knight e4, knight is on h3, and white can take probably and play queen e2 and then try to attack e4 pawn with knight f2. Okay, it's also not clear what is this. Even here black is good. Also after e5 probably d4 is possible. Yes, looks like d4 is possible. Or maybe not. Takes, and rook takes e7. There is idea. My idea. But black can take with queen simply. My idea was if rook takes e7, queen g3. It's pretty unpleasant. G7 is attacked, and then if G6 I will take the rook, but this variation is not correct because black can take with queen, and after f takes e7, rook takes d3, c takes d3, c takes d2. Black is much better here, probably even winning already. So d5 was strong. If white is not playing e5, okay, so take on d5, knight takes d5, black is much better because of two bishops and advantage in the centrum. So e5 is only move, and after d4, so black is just better in this variation. But okay, so draw was enough for Bogoljubow, so he played queen c6. It's a solid move. Euwe played f5, d5. Black is better here, but knight takes b5 was idea. Just a moment. Knight takes b5 I was considered, but okay, I can just take and to play queen c6 and then take on f6, and surely black is much better with equal material because of two bishops, because of advantage on the centrum. Of course, after knight b5, also queen c6 immediately, maybe even stronger. Black is better for sure. But okay, what Bogoljubow did, it's also fine. But so he took on d5 and he offered a draw because draw was enough to win in the match. So in different situation, I am sure that Bogoljubow would play this position for a win. So, but queen g3, where queen g3? Now queen g3. Okay, but for example, bishop d6. It's not only move, but very simple. Queen g4 you cannot play because after queen g4 you are just losing after knight f6. And other moves also, it looks like. Euwe was white, so with black of course, but in this game Euwe was white. In previous game Euwe was black. I put two games together. So Bogoljubow was black, and after knight takes d5, he offered a draw because draw was enough for him to win the match. Only this reason was draw offer, because in different situations, surely Bogoljubow would play this position for a win. Okay, so I am finished my final report about this match. Quite interesting match, many interesting ideas, and interesting that in same year, in end of 1928, they played another match which was it was uh, it was another match. They played and also they played 10 games, and all, score was same, 5.5 against 4.5 in favor of Bogoljubow. This was it's very interesting. It was world champion match against amateurs. Capablanca against Alyoshin played in 1927, 1 year before. So, But in this time also were amateurs world championships. Firstly tournament after Olympiads in 1924 in Paris, in 1928 I don't remember where, in Holland, yes, in Holland. And in 1924 Hermanis Matisson became amateur world champion. In 1928 Max Euwe won this tournament. And yes, yes. Euwe, okay. Euwe was amateur world champion probably 2 months, something like this, because FIDE decide that he need to try to defend this title, and decides that his opponent will be Yefim Bogoljubow, one of the best players in this period, and they organized this match, and Ava lost, so officially Bogoljubow became amateur world champion. But okay, in that time it wasn't considered like something very serious, because like real champion everybody considered Alexander Alyokhin. Okay, so I will ask opening to beginners. Okay. Yes, I agree. Quite a strong amateurs. Yes, totally agree. Okay, so about candidates tournament, my prediction, and okay, I don't know who will win, but I think that everybody has chance. But I will be really surprised if Timur Rajabov will win. I don't know why, but by intuition. So, okay, I uh, I will not be surprised if Timur will have plus, but okay. So um, if Timur will be second, even, or third, okay, it's possible. But I don't know why, but very difficult to imagine him like winner of this tournament. But maybe it's not true. Maybe if he will have good start, everything is possible. But okay, I have no clear favorite in this tournament. So almost everybody can win. Whom I want to win? Nobody. So I have no preference. Okay. And this is, I think, optimal situation for my next annotation, because for me it will be much more easy to be objective and analyze just what is happening on the board. So I will not have strong emotions because I'm worried for somebody. I want very much somebody to win. Okay, so I will just to I'm prefer just to be like spectator, and just to understand for myself what has happened, and try to explain to my spectators uh, how I see it. And also, it's interesting to say that this time, now we have 2022. So, very famous candidates tournament was in 1962, so 60 years ago, and format more or less same. Okay, 8 players. Okay, they played 4 rounds, 4 games against each other. Стосовно турнірів, є деякі плани, але оскільки це поки що не точно, то я не буду їх оголошувати. Але деякі вже плани є зіграти в офіційних турнірах навіть цього місяця. Коли вже буде точно знати, то про це скажу. I am answered about my possible tournaments that I explained that I have some plans already, but it's still not clear when I will know exactly about my next tournaments. I will give this information in my Twitch. Mhm. Okay, no, finally, no chances in candidates. Caruana, disaster. If Caruana won, disaster. Okay, but why you don't want another match between Carlsen and Caruana? Why is so disaster? I don't understand. Okay, about Rajabov in Norway, so he didn't play during for a long time before, so probably for him was the most important goal to feel chess again, so to improve his form, his shape, and to check what to do. Probably he hides something of his preparation. It's also possible, but not necessary, in my opinion. Okay, so about Nakamura, it's better to address these questions directly to him. So I don't know if it helps him and in which form it helps. If I coach, yes, okay, I have several pupils, yes. Next year to Ireland. Okay, Ireland next year. I have never been in Ireland, but I like to drink whiskey and I like to drink Baileys. So and I know about St. Patrick's celebration. It's one day before my birthday. 17th of March. But okay, when usually, in which time of year will be Bunrati tournament? Aha, you live in Ireland. Okay, so but in which time? In summer or or in winter or other time of year? Mhm. Fashion. New challenger would be more interesting, but I don't know who is more interesting for you. So maybe Richard Rapport is more interesting for you, but I don't know your preference. Carlsen that he will probably, okay, he is joking. Whiskey, okay. In February. February, okay. February, okay. So I will consider this idea to go to Ireland. Bunrati is the name of city, okay. Is it far from Dublin? I don't know. Okay, Ireland, it's not a big country at all, according to my geographic knowledge. Beginning of year in February, okay. Very big advocate of Bunrati. Okay, if you will give me name of email of Simon Williams, I will contact him. I remember him from Gibraltar. I know him personally because some games we commentated together. Is more interesting, but someone who already played a match would be perhaps better prepared for it. Okay, maybe. You mean не помнящий о Caruana? played matches already against Carlsen. Okay. Hello, Ola. Not so close. Okay. Meet him often in Bunratti. Ah. Uh, it was. Is it a mail of Williams or what? Immortal Ukrainian. Uh, Immortal game. What you mean? Ukrainian immortal game. If I'm comment more today, okay. So for today, I am planned to just comment to the last games from match Euwe Bogoljubow. But well, if there are some questions, I can just answer questions. Yefim Korczmar against Yevsei Polyak. Korczmar Polyak. Okay. Korczmar Polyak. Korczmar Polyak. Polyak was Ukrainian. Yefim Korczmar maybe was Ukrainian too. Not sure. Okay, I will check this game. I don't know what happened. Which opening it was? Korczmar Polyak. Where I live? I live in Lviv. This is Korczmar Polyak. Okay, well, we can try. So I will put moves. So e4, e5, knight f. Sorry, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, d6, d4, bishop d7, knight c3, knight f6, castle, knight takes d4. Sorry, knight takes d4. Bishop takes d7, queen takes d7, takes, bishop e7, rook d1, castle e5, knight e8, bishop f4, a5, rook d3, rook a6, rook e1, queen f5, knight d5, bishop d8. Yes. King f8, rook g7. Yes, final of game I have seen. Yes, but before. Okay, first of all, according to theory, it's better for black to play bishop e7 here. And only after rook e1 to take on d4 to avoid what was played in the game. But now castle, it's famous error, because after this, queen takes d8, black is just losing the pawn. Okay, the best for black to take with this rook and to play bishop e8 with but rook take, and black cannot take pawn back because after knight d3 they are losing material. Knight is hanging after f5, f3, after bishop c5, takes, bishop g5, after rook d5, bishop e7, and white is winning because c4 is coming. It's old strap, but black can avoid this. Okay, so black took, knight takes d4. Also now bishop e7, it's better. But okay, so he exchanged everything. And now rook d1. Now it's important. Rook d1 resource, and now white is better because e5 is coming, and for black is difficult to prevent e5. So they took bishop f4. White is clearly better. a5, rook e1. Okay, white has many moves, so even after primitive h3, white is clearly better, but white starts direct attack. Knight d6, rook g3, f6, bishop h6. Yes, rook f7, knight b4. Simmons with, okay, website Williams. Okay. Okay, knight b4, yes. Looks like very nice. A takes b4, queen takes d6. Yes. Yes. Very good. Rook e8 is coming. Queen d7, queen d5. Bravo. Rook takes g7 is threatened, even here. So, okay. Yes. Yes, very nice, but we can admit that black played opening in very bad style, but combination is really nice, that's true. Okay, about candidates tournament, I already expressed my opinion. Simon Williams. Okay, okay. It's like after night before, everything is I cannot see any idea how black can defend this position. So, really nice combination. Queen d5. Okay, but in opening, black can more precise and for black is for black takes d4 to play g6. For black not a6, bishop a4 because because bishop under attack. If image same position with a6, bishop a4, after knight takes c6, white is not losing time and has comfort. So this is the best conception. Probably Jan Eilvest was who played, according to my memory, it was against Michael Adams. Збільшити моє і зменшити коричневий фон по боках. Ну, пораджуся, як то технічно можна зробити. It was a question about interface of my stream. Okay, is problem with sound, right? So g6 is good idea, and black bishop g7, Jan Elvest is also Alexander Onishchuk from USA played this line with black. But Adams Elvest. So, what is situation now? Bad sound, right? No? What? Now better. Okay. Okay, but at the moment, okay, I'm. Uh-huh. Okay, but at the moment, I am ready to finish this, so I will come back soon, and we will see each other more often during candidates tournaments. Some games, even some rounds, I even planning to comment in the regime online, but not always. Okay, bye. Thanks for your attention and thanks for subscription.